The reason why you should be doing a reverse diet is because that shit's gonna get you right the quickest, and is also, in my opinion, the easiest way to stay on track. Because first off, you're gonna be cutting, right? So you're gonna be dropping weight, in order to build back up and put on that clean, weight, instead of just dirty bulking and getting fat and this and that and not knowing, what you're eating and shit, or you're eating too much and this and that. Reverse diet is perfect. Like it changed the game for me, because I first had to cut, you know what I'm saying? So that made me have to start tracking my food, which I was neglecting that part in the beginning, and that's what changed the game for me, is tracking my food. So now I'm eating a little bit less, I got a certain percentage of protein, carbs, and fats that I'm sticking to, and I'm seeing this body fat just shed off my body. You see what I'm saying? Which is what will keep you on track, because if you start seeing the results, quickly, you're gonna stay on track. You're gonna want to keep doing what's getting you the results. So to me, it's like the best, because you could start, and within like a month or two, you're gonna see results. And the best part is when people start complimenting you. People are like, damn, Kev, you losing weight. Damn, bro. Hey, what are you doing? What are you eating now? This and that. And you're like, damn, looking in the mirror, you're like, fuck, I am losing weight. Like, this shit feels good. I feel lighter. I'm eating cleaner. That's another thing, is that when you start eating cleaner, your body just feels better. Your body performs different. You just feel better and all around. You know what I'm saying? When you look in that mirror, when you eat, you feel good. I don't feel bloated. I used to just eat whatever, man. I used to just go to like Miller's Ale House, and I'll have me like a big ass burger and shit. That was my shit back then. The brunch burger with French fries and shit. And that shit would just put me to sleep, and I feel sluggish and stuff. But when you start eating clean, man, that shit changes, like, even the way you think. You start thinking more clear, and you start feeling better. So with the reverse diet, I started cutting down weight. And it sucks, because if you're in a certain weight, like I started at 180, and right now I'm down to like 150, 152. So when you start cutting down that weight, in the beginning, it's gonna suck, because you're gonna be like, damn, I'm getting too small, or I'm getting too skinny, and I'm losing my gains and this and that. But it's only for you to, reset your metabolism and do it the right way. You see what I'm saying? So in the end, if you stick through it, it's gonna be a better result for you. And like I said, when you start looking in the mirror and stuff, that will keep you on track. And it's gonna take a little time for you to adjust to eat properly and learn how to eat and this and that. But my advice is start tracking as soon as possible. Even if you're not doing the reverse diet, whatever diet you're doing, you need to track your macros, because that's gonna be the blueprint for your results. So I was neglecting this part for a long time. I always hit the gym, but I always just ate how I wanted and just lived how I wanted, like not give a fuck. Like I would just drink, smoke, do whatever, but I hit the gym. I always stay consistent with the gym. But once I started tracking my macros, that's what really changed the game for me, man. Tracking my macros and really eating clean, weighing my food. That's the shit that's gonna level you up, bro. And there's no better feeling than this right here. Like, bro, you could lift as much weight as you want, bro. If your body looks like shit, then it's pointless to me. Like, I would lift and this and that, and my lifts were great, and I felt great in the gym. But outside of the gym, I feel like, damn, like, it's almost like pointless, because people don't look at you like, oh yeah, he goes to the gym, he looks like he stays fit. Nah, because you're a little bit sloppy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're strong, but you're sloppy. So it's like, I'm not with that shit, man. I'd rather put on this clean weight. I'd rather feel good, and I learned to space out my meals. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, so I space out my meals. In the morning, I wake up and I have a coffee, black coffee, with 1 teaspoon of hazelnut creamer, and then I'll have like a rice cake, chocolate rice cake, and then I'll go hit the gym. And sometimes I go twice. Sometimes most of these days I've been going like once, in the morning, and then I'll just rest for a day or two or whatever. But I would go in the morning, 5 a.m., train. I'll probably be at the gym like 6, be done by like 7:30. I have a light meal, like some egg whites with sourdough bread, and then I'll wait till lunch, and I'll eat some chicken with white rice. And most of the time I'm just eating chicken with potatoes or white rice or tortillas. You got to switch it up and stuff. But that's what helped me out, is by spacing my meals so I won't stay hungry. Because when you're cutting down, you really can't be eating how you've been eating, and you'll get used to it after a while. But I think that's the best way, man, is to reset your metabolism, reset your whole game plan, man, because you're gonna start eating different. You got to train a little different. When you're cutting, you're not doing so much weight, and it's honestly the best feeling. So the reason why you should do reverse diet is because you're gonna shed all that fat, all that weight, which is most of the time what people are trying to do. Like, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to build muscle, but I'm mostly worried about the fat. I don't want the fat. I want to build muscle, but I don't want the fat. I'd rather be a little smaller than a little smaller with less fat than just be big but have a whole lot of fat. So when I started doing it, I started shedding a lot of that fat, and it started feeling better because I already knew that, I was dropping the weight, and I started to see my abs. I started to see, more definition in my body, and it felt great. You know what I'm saying? It felt great to see that. It feels like, damn, I'm, working hard. I'm going hard in the gym, and it's actually paying off. Like, I actually feel good. I actually look good. People are complimenting me, and that's going to help you stay on track, man. So, if you hitting the gym or you've been hitting the gym, I would advise you to try out the reverse diet, and I feel like people do this anyways. You gotta, like, people will bulk and then cut, bulk and cut, and it's almost like the same thing, but just in a different, it's kind of different. You cut first and then you put on the clean weight. But yeah, I feel like for most people, like, that are overweight, this is the best way to do it, because like I said, you're focused on losing that fat, and when you start seeing that fat going, that's when you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I gotta keep doing this shit. And that's gonna keep you on point. That's gonna keep you going, because you're gonna see the results. People are gonna see it on you, and you're gonna see it shed right off your body. And that's really what it takes, man. So if you thinking about doing a reverse diet, or you just getting in the gym, or you overweight and you trying to, cut that fat, or, you trying to shed down some fat, I would advise you to do the reverse diet, because for me, it was the best thing, and I'm still on my cutting phase. I have probably like a month, because I'm trying to lose like a couple more pounds. So I'm probably like a month and a half out, depending on, how hard I go. I'm actually on a walk right now. I've been incorporating more walking. I do like 10K steps, try to do it every day. And so yeah, I'm trying to get real definition into my abs, and then I'm gonna start building back up with my reverse diet. But listen, man, this has been, it hasn't been easy, but this has been the best thing that I have done in my fitness journey. This has been the best thing. I feel good, I look good, and eventually I'm gonna get back up in weight, but the proper way. So that's the reason why you should do the reverse diet, man. It's gonna keep you on track. You're gonna see the results, and it's gonna be lovely.